kick us off for today, I think I wanted to hear a story from my wife that she recounted to me recently about an experience she had with art back in high school.
Yeah, so back in high school, I had an elective class that was called, I think it was called digital photography. And I don't remember if I chose this class or if it was kind of selected for me. I remember at the school we went to, sometimes we would get to choose our electives, and sometimes they weren't actually elective. They would just get added to our schedule, and we didn't have a say in it. But I was in this digital photography class in high school, and I think it had to have been maybe 9th or 10th grade, so I was probably 13 or 14 at the time, something like that. And I was actually looking forward to this class because I kind of saw myself as a pretty good photographer at the time. I had some confidence with my photography skills that were probably unfounded. Well, I later learned they were pretty unfounded. But, I had the first iPod with a camera, so I was always taking pictures all the time. And
The 2-megapixel camera.
oh, yeah.
Or whatever it was back.
It's like the pictures of Bigfoot are better than the pictures I could get out of that camera. But so I was looking forward to this class, and it was pretty fun, especially I think it was in the fall semester. So a lot of the class was we would kind of just wander around the school and like take pictures of random things. It was pretty fun. So I got to hang out with my friends, and we would wander around, and I brought like my digital camera to school. So I was kind of having fun in this photography class. And then one of the assignments we got, the teacher gave us a list of professional photographers to choose from. And what we had to do was select a photographer, take a look at some of their art, and, learn about the style of their art and try to take a picture to replicate the style of their photography. So I was looking through this list of photographers, and some of them they looked very difficult to recreate. One of the photographers was Annie Leibovitz, and I remember looking at some of her photos from the Disney series, which I think was the one that we were supposed to be selecting if we chose her. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they're beautiful photos. They're very fantastical looking, very fairy tale princessy, beautiful photos that I was like, I can't replicate something like that. Like I'm not gonna pick her. Yeah. So I was basically looking for the easiest one I could find. And I came across this American photographer called Gregory Crewdson. And specifically, he has a series of photos that I don't remember what the name of the series was, but they were basically just a bunch of pictures of very normal scenes you would find in America on street corners and stuff. And they were all kind of taken at twilight, right after sunset, basically. So, sometimes the sky would be a little bit pink or just have a little bit of light left in it. And there would usually be, some kind of like car parked on the street or someone in the street, and there would be telephone poles across the frame and some houses or trees or lamp posts or something. It was a very normal scene. Yeah. And I remember looking through these photos and just thinking, well, this looks like something I could just snap on my walk home from the park. Like, this is a very normal thing. This looks like kind of where I live. Like, this doesn't look difficult at all. I'm going to pick this guy. And maybe for the YouTube portion of this, I'll throw some of the pictures up there for inspiration of some of his photos here. But I just thought they looked really easy, and I thought I could do it no problem. So I got into studying some of his photos, taking a look at them, planning out how I was gonna get this shot, and I had my dad drive me to a street in the city that I live in that kind of had a lot of power lines, because that's really the thing that I noticed in his photos is these power lines. And I just started snapping shots, and I was like, all right, look at me go. I like did this in 10 minutes. This was like the easiest thing ever. And one of them, I even like had a car in the background, and the car like had its headlights on at one point, and I snapped that picture, and I was like, that's the one. Like, that is gonna belong in like an art museum. This is perfect. It's fitting right in with the
Yeah.
with what this is supposed to do. I'm gonna
Sure.
like ace this assignment. And so, I brought this back, and part of the class was we were learning about how to use Adobe Photoshop. So I got this photo and I started doing stuff in Photoshop, and I thought things were looking good, and I like got the photo to where, the lighting looked right and the exposure and all these things. And I was like, I think I maybe got it. And then I pulled up some of his pictures to like look at it next to my photo, and I realized this photo that I took is terrible. Like, it is actually terrible. Everything's off.
Comparison, yeah.
Everything's off. The light is not right. It's not balanced. Like, I didn't know how to explain it, but it just was awful. And if you promise not to laugh at me, I might put this photo up so on the YouTube portion of this so everyone can see it. But it was an awful picture. And I didn't realize it until I put it up next to these other pictures. And then as I was looking at this picture, I was like so ashamed. Like, I can't show this in front of the whole class. Like, this looks so bad. And so at that point, I started taking a look at his photos again, and I was noticing things that I never saw before. After I had tried to replicate it, and I noticed all these intricacies, the light shining out of some of the buildings, and the way that the light reflected perfectly off of the wet ground in this area, and how everything was balanced, and it just felt soft. And I just remember like looking at these pictures and thinking, I thought this was gonna be so easy.
Yeah.
It's just a normal street corner, right? Like, it looks so normal to me, but I can't make my picture look like that. So sitting there wondering, what am I gonna do, because my picture's horrible and I have to present this to the class. I basically decide to kind of tell the truth about what happened. So I get up there with my presentation, I show some of his pictures, and I show my picture, and I basically say in front of the whole class, the lesson I learned here, because my picture's horrible, and I did what I thought was my best to try and replicate one of his pictures, but I realized like there's a lot more that goes into this photography than I thought. And I picked this guy because I thought it would be so easy. But now that I've tried to recreate it, like, I see a beauty in these photos of his that I didn't recognize at first because I went and tried to do it myself. And I gained an appreciation for the work that he's doing in his pictures that I clearly did not have when I was just looking through them at first. So that was the lesson that I learned from that, and my teacher kind of ate that up. She loved that. But it was the truth. It was the truth about what I learned in that instance. So with these photos from this guy, definitely gave me a greater appreciation for the underrated or simplistic beauty in them. And I look at these photos now, and they really are beautiful photos. They are really nice. And I recognize that a lot better than I ever did before that assignment.
Yeah, there's definitely a charm and a uniqueness and like a deep visceral feeling that I think each photo really captures well.
Yeah, it's difficult to explain, but I think that's kind of what art is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you feel something or help explain something that words can't.